All right, pickleball nerds, welcome back. Today is Monday, April 7th, and we're done with the PPA season for a little bit of time. We are now moving on to MLP season. In the women's doubles MLP section, we have Megan Dazan and Annalie Waters barely taking over the number one spot over Georgia and Tyra. Matty Pickles, myself, and the fans, we appreciate you guys. We had 50 people who submitted rankings for all of this stuff. The fans put Annalie Waters and Megan Dazan over the top. So, Kaitlyn and Eric, you guys both had Megan and Annalie at number two over or behind Georgia and Hurricane Tyra. What are you guys thinking?
I think it'll take, we're doing a power ranking right now, and I'm doing this as of we're going to be playing in Orlando in 3 weeks, right? And so I do think there will be a little tiny bit of Megan and Annalie getting used to playing with each other. And, if in covering the sport, I've learned nothing other than the fact that there is a giant recency bias in everything related to pickleball, then I've learned nothing else. Because, we win one tournament, and now I hear people saying, domination, and we're going to be battling for championships for the rest of the year type of thing. And that very well could be, but we just won one. So let's, hold our horses here a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think Megan and Annalie have to show us what they can do together. Obviously, Annalie is the number one female in the world, and she could pick up most partners. And I think Megan has a great game style that will suit Annalie, but we just haven't seen them play enough. And Georgia and Hurricane have something that not a lot of partners have, and they have love for each other off the court. And I think that translates really well into their play style together. And I really like that when players genuinely love each other. I think that goes far.
Okay, well, Matty Pickles, did you do your rankings before Georgia and Tyra won? Why do you have Megan and Annalie at number one then?
No, I did these rankings last night, and at the end of the day, I still just kept Annalie Waters at number one because she just finds a way to win. I know they came up, again, reminding Zane of this fact. They did come up a little bit short in the finals at the end of the year, but Annalie Waters and Mari Humberg across the regular season and midseason tournament were 25-1 when you compare that to just 16-11 for Tyra Black and Georgia Johnson. Of course, a lot's happened since October when the finals were played, and we've seen Tyra get 2 gold medals, Georgia just winning a gold medal. So I think, especially when you do take into consideration the adjustment time for this new partnership, I think I could be convinced to flip those around, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Georgia and Tyra just have high highs and somewhat low lows, right? I do think that the consistency of Annalie Waters is the reason that I had her at number one as well. But after that, we have Kate Fahey and Anna Bright as a unanimous number three. Number four was pretty solidly for Rachel and Jackie, followed by Etta and Tina. Now, the thing that did surprise me here was Catherine and Jade all the way down at number 7. Eric and Maddie, you guys had them at 7. That's pretty low. Kawamotos are always underrated. Defend yourself.
I'll let Eric take this one.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Maddie. Appreciate that. I would say the Kawamotos they just got a bronze together. Jade and Catherine were really good last year together. And Rachel and Jackie have the potential to be good. I do think they especially are really good from the baseline. I think they are going to struggle a little bit covering the court when they get to the kitchen line, just a little bit due to their reach. And with the Kawamotos playing with Proton, I think their game has stepped up a little bit in terms of put away power, so that's a very good thing for them. And yeah, I had, so in that little group of 4 to 8, I did have Paris and Leia much higher than everybody else as the 5. So that's why some of those other team or partners that you guys had a little bit higher are a little bit lower for me.
Yeah, and to Eric's point, I think maybe the reason I had Kaitlyn a bit lower is maybe the same reason that Annalie's moving on. It just seems like, there's just been a lot of questions of if she's still kind of keeping up at that very top level. Also, Jade and Kaitlyn are a returning team from last year. They went 13-10 in the regular season. So I think they could probably improve that number, especially when you consider that there are just, those 4 extra teams in the league now that, to be honest, are just a lot weaker. So we might see some inflated records at the top, and I would definitely expect that record to be a little bit better. To me, they were just the 7th team. These top 7 teams kind of just feel like a step above. It feels like there's a little bit of a drop-off after that.
Definitely. Interesting. After that, we have Paris and Leia, followed by Vivian and Callie. And then that's where I feel like the drop-off really kind of occurs. Next up is Jessie and Jeannie, Samantha and Lacey, Tammy and Kaitlyn. And then an interesting one is we had Viv Glosman and Victoria DeMuzio. None of us had them in the top 11. The fans love the Gloss dog. I think they inflated the vote. They had them all the way up at number 9. So that's our women's doubles. Who's taking us for men's doubles next up?
All right, I got you guys here. So men's doubles overall ranking number 1 from our group, including the fans. We got Matty, Zane, and the fans all at number 1. CJ Klinger and Andre Daescu. You guys just think Andre Daescu is the number 1 men's doubles player in the world. Who wants to talk about that one, Matty or Zane?
I mean, after our discussion last week, I kind of felt like I had to back it up and had to put Andre at the number 1 spot. I just think this team's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited to see it play. They did win a gold at the end of 2024 together. And Andre, as we've seen, and even CJ too with J-Dub, I mean, they're both just playing incredible pickleball right now. This is the team that I just cannot wait to see how they perform.
Yeah, for sure. The fans know ball, too. They had him at number 1 as well. Caitlin, what is going on? You had him at number 5.
I think I was sleepwalking as I did this 2 nights ago. No, it's really funny. I interviewed Andre recently, and the title of the pod is going to be, are you the number 1, is Andre Daescu the number 1 men's doubles player in the world or what? No, I do agree he should be higher than I have him here. I think Andre is just so consistent, as we talked about. CJ's up at, he's not even up and coming. He is there. He's shown great play year in and year out, past 2 years, I'd say, in MLP. So excited to see that duo. Next up at number 2, we have Gabe and Hayden, the dynamic duo. And then followed by Gabe and Hayden, we have Augie Gut, J-Dub, and Dylan and Fed. I actually put Dylan and Fed at number 2. This top 5 is definitely, we all have basically the top 5. And then it goes down to Deckel and Riley Newman at 3 from Zane Navratil. What do you see in Deckel and Riley that the rest of us see at 6 or 7, Zane?
Deckel is playing very good ball, and Riley is used to being having to be sort of an alpha. I really like that combination together, not because Riley is not playing the same. He's not the same Riley that he was a year and a half ago, a year ago, right? But I do think that the partnership with Deckel, who also somehow stays pretty underrated, is very, very good. And I'm just comparing them to the teams ahead. I've got CJ and Andre ahead of them. I've got Gabe and Hayden. And I like a Riley and Deckel beating Augie and J-Dub. I like them beating Dylan and Fed. I think the matchup actually with Ben and Colin might be rough for that team. So I don't like the head-to-head for Deckel and Riley, but I've got them beating a couple of the teams ahead of them. So I just like that partnership a lot, and I think they're going to perform very well. And importantly, they're going to be on a good team too. Individual partnerships, I think, do better when they are motivated and on a good team as well. So a few different factors there.
And we've seen Riley succeed on the DC pickleball team before, so I'm sure he'll be excited to get the fans back engaged with him there. I had them at 7, and you said it's about how well Deckel was playing. For me, it was more of a referendum on Riley's results of late, because Deckel, of course, has just been playing absolutely lights out. So I had them all the way down 7.
Yeah, but I think that Riley can just hang and counter, right? He doesn't need to be the initiator, which is another reason why I had them a little higher.
Yeah, one thing that Zane mentioned that we don't often talk about, or we haven't yet, is the power of the ownership groups. I mean, DC Pickleball Team, everyone is absolutely stoked to be on that team. You can't say that about every single team on this list. One other men's doubles partnership I wanted to bring up here is Ben and Colin Johns. Do we think that they can have success in this Major League Pickleball season? Do we think that they can come back together and do some damage here, or are they kind of old news?
No, this team's checked out. They're completely checked out immediately. They didn't do anything in the offseason. They are completely checked out, and the team is – I had them at 7, and I stand by that. I don't think we're going to see an engaged Ben and Colin in this one, especially because their women aren't top tier either. So, I don't think they're going to be engaged.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one that we're all going to be watching. Tice, do you have any comments? I mean, look at Eric Onson's and Christian Alshon. Eric Onson's stock could not be higher right now. I am so bullish on Christian Alshon still to this day. And, composite score is 7.
Yeah. Couple things that I think they do for sure. I think it should be maybe even higher, even though I have them at 7. One thing that I do want to bring up, and I know that the nerds know this, but I just want to bring it up to talk about it with the audience is, remember that we're moving to side-out scoring, and there is no more just staying on one side. So I feel like the teams and the partners that are more adjustable, like both players can play the left and the right. Like, I don't know many players that can play the left and right the same level, but to a closer level makes them a little bit more advantageous, I think, in the new MLP format. So that's why I have Gabe and Hayden up. I'm the only one that had them at 1. But I do think, Christian is playing a super good right side right now. He could play the left. He played some with Andre. Eric is not so good on the right yet. I'm sure he'll practice that a little bit, but he's flying around. I mean, what is he, 6'4"? And like, I was texting with somebody this weekend, like, he is springy. Like, he is super athletic and has a huge wingspan, and he covers his body really well. So yeah, I really like that team. I could see that team towards the end of the year being like top 5, top 4-ish, based on their potential.
And I'm already riding that wave, maybe a little bit of Homer bias. I'm wearing some Texas Ranchers gear. If you didn't know, I'm a big fan of the Texas Ranchers. I am going to do my due diligence and see if I can maybe get a scoop and get a good feel for how the team chemistry is going to be for that unit. We did see a little bird was let out of the cage at the end of their match last time. So I think a team chemistry retreat might be in order before MLP Orlando.
Okay. Going down the list, we got Zane and Willie Howes at number 8, Tyler Leung and Connor 9, Hunter Johnson and Kwang Duong 10, Tyson and Jack 11. Now this is the last one I want to talk about here. We got James Ignatowicz and Max Freeman at 12. Max Freeman's stock is pretty high. He's a lefty. They obviously are BFFs. They're doing all the James Ignatowicz training videos together. They're doing the newsletter together. They live in the same area. I don't even know if they live together. They might as well be dating. How is this duo going to do?
Well, Ryan Fu would be pissed because that's Ryan Fu's boyfriend. But I think that they're going to do. I think that they're going to do well. I think that James keeps telling me when his contract is up, and so when he switches, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. I think we're going to see a resurgence from James. I don't have them, crazy high in this ranking, just because we're again talking about power rankings if the aliens came and invaded today. But they're another team I think by the end of the year is much higher in that ranking.
Yeah, I could easily see them like being top 7, but I could also see them being 12, 13, like their floor is also pretty low. So, but James's athleticism, he's like a year and a half ago, everybody in the world is James Ignatowicz is the number 2 mixed guy in the world by far, right? Like so he has the innate ability to get there. It's just, I think the mental thing, I think, he's been hurt a little bit now. I think if they can like string together some consistent 2, 3, 4 consistent events, all of a sudden they're really in the hunt now.
Yeah. I mean, Todd and Jelme is another group. We have them composite at 14, but nobody did better than them in men's and challenger last year and the year, I think last year it was. So, can they compete at this level? That's another question I have, for the fans and for this group to think about. But I think that's good for men's doubles. You want to head on to mixed?
Yeah, sure. I'll take over mixed. Let's talk about this. So we have a very tight three-way race here in mixed with the top three partnerships. We have Annalie and Will ranked number 1, Georgia and JW ranked number 2, and Anna and Hayden ranked number 3. So it looks like Anna and Hayden don't have a number 1 seed, but the other two, they're kind of those three are fighting it out. Why don't we go to you, Maddie?
I mean, Annalie Waters and Will Howes were just so good last year that I'm just taking them as the number 1 team. Especially, I think he gets overlooked a lot, but Will Howes, the dude just got a triple crown on the APP Tour. I mean, this guy is only getting better. So until they start dropping games to J-Dub and Georgia, I'm going to keep them at number 1. I think that team is going to. I mean, it's kind of the backbone. Obviously you have Annalie on the women's side, but that mixed doubles line is really like the backbone of this team. They need to hold strong there.
Yeah, they were the best team in MLP last year, and they're a better team now. So, Will is playing great ball, and I had him super high in my men's power ranking. So I feel really comfortable with them as a number 1.
Sorry, I was just going to talk about Anna Bright and Hayden. It was interesting, again, on the pod. She basically told me that for whatever reason, she doesn't feel that her and Hayden have great court chemistry. They're very good friends off court, but she doesn't feel like they play that well together.
Very good friends.
Which is why we haven't seen them play together in mix going forward. I don't know if they have any slated, but I think that's an interesting one. Will we see Anna Bright switch it up and maybe partner with Gabe and put Kate Fahey with Patrick Quinn? We may or we may not, but that's one to watch out for sure.
I mean, these teams are just so closely bundled at the top last year in the regular season. Annalie and Will were 22-3. Anna and Hayden were 20-5, and J-Dub and Georgia were 21-6, and they're all, I mean, it's going to be. I think these are the 3 top teams pretty consensusly as we have here, and yeah.
And when we were putting together these partnerships, I just want to point out, these are what we think the partnerships are going to be on these teams. To Kaitlyn's point, the Shock could switch it up and go Kate and Hayden and Gabe and Anna. So we don't know what that's going to look like yet. Let's go down to the next tier. We have Paris and Andre in number 4, very close with Etta and Christian. And then there's a drop off to, Rachel and Deckel, and then Tammy and Ben. Let's talk about that grouping there. Kaitlyn, you want to go?
Sure. So I think, Andre, again, I asked him, I said, you could be the number 1 men's doubles player in the world, but I could not say the same for you in mix. And interestingly, he said, I have not dedicated the time to mix as I have with men's. He watched a ton of tape on men's. And so I think that's his next avenue to really understand better is his mix game. And I think he's going to be working on it. He's had great success with Anna Bright winning a title and a few others. So I think him and Paris could be a really good duo. Christian, yeah, could be. You could also argue he could be top 1, 2 in mixed. But I just haven't seen Etta's game at that top tier level. I feel like in the last, 6 months, I feel like that's deteriorated a bit. So I'm interested to see how she does this year. Declan and Rachel, interesting. He's excited to play with Rachel. I know that. And then Ben and Tammy, that's going to be an interesting one. You have one of the best men's doubles players in the world playing with a not, I would say less than top 20 female on tour. What is that going to do? How can they dominate? Can they dominate? Can they win these top tier matches? That's the question I have.
Zane, I want to go to you to talk about specifically Declan Rachel being lower than most of the others and whatever else you want to talk about.
Whatever else I want to talk about. Okay. Well, yeah, I had them a little bit lower, and this just comes on. They've had a few different bad losses over the last week. the last like few weeks. They had a bad loss to Martin and Ewa in Cape Coral. I think they went out like first or second round the week after. This week I believe they did a little bit better. You would know, Tice. I can't remember what they did in. I
think they only made the quarters. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they just don't seem to be gelling yet. And so again, this is, I think, end of year. They're in that top 6 conversation right now. I just don't think so. They haven't gelled for me yet.
Zane, could I ask, I know it's a little bit off topic here, but I think it's relevant because you're obviously the only pro player here. When you're like we have PPAs, like we've had a month of PPAs, and now we're going to MLP, and Rachel and Deckel have played PPAs together. As a player, is like the MLP energy different? Like, could they have this bad gelling in PPAs for a couple of tournaments and then just like go crush MLP, or do you think that gelling shares over?
Yeah, I mean, like, to a certain extent it does. Like, if you have just horrible on-court chemistry with somebody, that's going to bleed over. I do think that MLP, even if in the modified scoring, that's now just 1 game to 11, correct? I do still think that is more of a pressure situation. So there are teams that, like, thrive over longer periods of time. There are teams that thrive on being able to lock in or be chaotic for a short period of time. So I think MLP favors the players that are just like dogs out there, the ones that are just elite competitors. And so, like, I think a team like me and Will would be a good example. I feel like we're very good competitors, but like over when things are a little looser in a 2 out of 3 match, like maybe we don't get into those chippy or late game situations. I mean, like I literally look at Duke and Houston from a couple days ago at the basketball game.
Just gonna bring that up,
right? Like Duke was probably the better team, but you keep things close enough and people get tight. Duke they scored like 1 field goal in the last 10 minutes of the game. You keep things close, people get tight. Smaller, shorter games favor the teams that can just compete a little bit better. So yeah, it certainly changes things. It's not going to overcome, completely horrible chemistry, but it does change some things.
Last thing I want to talk about in mixed doubles, because we're not going to spend the time running through all 32 expected teams, is these 2 teams here. It is actually no, we're going to go 3: Jackie and Riley, Leia and CJ, and Tina and Eric. The reason I want to talk about them is because at some point, Jackie and Riley are ranked 7th, and I have them ranked at 15th. And then, so there's like a huge gap on those 3 particular. Who wants to take the lead on this one? Anybody feel strongly about their higher seed or lower seed?
Well, one thing I'll say is I did have Tina and Eric Onsens at number 9, and the fans had them all the way down at 19. So maybe the fans haven't quite seen enough from Eric, or maybe just aren't big on Tina. Jackie and Riley, though, I mean, we've seen this team before in MLP, so I had them. Let me hang on 1 second. Jackie and Riley, we've seen this team before in MLP, so I had them up in number 11. I mean, I think they're going to be a good team. I don't have too much else to add here.
Kaitlyn, you really like Jackie and Riley there compared to everybody else. What's going on there?
Again, I think it goes back to them just being a part of the DC pickleball team. Their overall group is Deckel and Rachel. I think that's going to be pretty good team chemistry across the board. I think Riley, we haven't seen much from him. He kind of went MIA last year. He was traveling a bunch. Felt like he wasn't playing as many, he wasn't playing any PPA tournaments. I think that he will be a little bit more reinvigorated this year. He's like putting out some coaching content on Instagram. Never seen that before. So, Jackie's top notch. I really like Jackie as a player and a competitor. So I think, teams with good females usually do better than others.
Kawamotos are always underrated.
Always.
It's death, taxes, and Kawamotos being underrated.
Agreed.
Especially in a Dream Breaker.
True. Yes. I have a bone to pick with you guys. Me, And the fans, we know ball. Me and Megan, 14th best team. That feels reasonable. Maddie, number 20. What have I done to you?
Prove me wrong.
Number 20. This is unbelievable, right? No respect. Put some respect on the name. T-Dog at least gave me a 17. I'm not asking for number 3. Come on, guys, grow up.
I like it better when I get to rank these teams and then they don't confront me about it.
Just put me behind Helena Spiritus and Zane Ford, why don't you? Or Dominique and Donald Young. Unbelievable. Which is weird. To be fair, on an actual note, I'm surprised Donald Young is at 30 or is last. Like, he can take over a mixed game. That's a little wild to me. But anyway, I digress.
He has a drive like no other. I played with him on Necker Island for a couple matches, and he is really good. It's just, you go back to the same thing. Can a really, really good man bring up the level and mix to a degree that they can beat, like, can Donald Young and Dominique Schaefer beat you and Megan? I would say no. I think no. I mean, Megan's so good. Megan's too good, right? I mean, Zane is amazing and Megan's too good. So it's just tough. I don't know if you go down the list, who can they beat? That's kind of what you have to do.
Well, I'll take a 20th ranked amazing. Thanks, Kaitlyn. Anyway, before I become too much of an asshole, we should probably go on to Challenger.
Maddie, take over, please, quickly.
Please,
And
quickly.
before everybody else leaves for this, we're only going to talk about Challenger for like 2 minutes. Don't worry.
Yeah, Challenger League is in a very interesting spot this year. There are only 6 teams, and it's, as far as I know, going away after this. So it's going to be an interesting mix of who is motivated, who actually is going to show up to compete. And in our number 1 spot, we have the Las Vegas Night Owls. That is Zoe Wong, Brooke Buckner, Pablo Tejas, and not familiar with this Jay Delgado.
James Delgado.
It's a James Delgado. I mean, once we're getting into this Challenger League too, there's just a lot of players that fans, and I guess myself included, aren't going to be super familiar with. In our number 2 spot, we had the Brooklyn Aces, the Nashville Chefs coming in at 3, and then those were the 3 teams that at least one person picked in number 1. After that, there is a little bit of a drop-off. All the way down the bottom, we have the Florida Smash, who got 4 6th-place votes and 1 5th-place votes. Who wants to take away Kaitlyn? Or maybe Eric, why did you guys take the Las Vegas Night Owls? Kaitlyn, you're probably very familiar with how this team operates as well, having spent time with this organization. Why don't you guys take that and run with it?
Tice, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and you can talk.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. Here's the deal. With the rules that were set up for the 2025 year, there are plenty of Challenger level players that are on Challenger level teams right now that are premier level talent. That's just how the rules set up. I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest, but it is what it is right now. And so Las Vegas has 3 premier level players that are like talent level premier, but they're in a Challenger level team. So I have them first because those 3 can easily take, like, who is Brooke and Zoe going to lose to in Challenger? I don't think there's anybody. And if Pablo plays with Zoe in mixed, who are they going to lose to? I just don't think that's like. So they're the number 1 seed for me.
Yeah, I think that, like he said, Brooke and Zoe should easily be in Premier. There's no doubt about it. Pablo should be in Premier as well. But like he said, I am less bullish on their mixed teams. I think their women's is definitely number 1 by a lot. I think mixed is a little bit up in the air. And I think in Challenger, a lot of it comes down to the chemistry of the teams, who's going to want to be there, who's going to want to play. Are people pissed that they're not in Premier? There's only 6 teams. They're going to be playing the same 6 teams throughout the whole season, yada, yada, yada. I mean, we basically besides myself, almost everybody had the Florida Smash ranked 6th, or, I had them 5th. I think, that team is going to be, Casey Campbell, he's not bad. He's been playing pretty well. You got Travis Rettenmeyer, but, how can their females compete? What do you guys think about the Smash?
I think that accurate ranking is on there. The fans got it right. Travis, man, you hate to see it. I personally love to see it, but
Well, if anybody else has any last tidbits to throw in for Challenger League, speak now. Otherwise, we will be moving on to talk about Premier League. So, in Premier League, we had 4 of our voters, including the fans, had the Dallas Flash, the defending champs, still in that number 1 spot. The lone holdout, maybe to nobody's surprise, being Zane, who has New Jersey in the number 1 spot. Zane, what is going to differentiate y'all over the Flash this year and get you over the hump this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think Megan is a great addition to the team. I think Mari was probably a slightly better singles player. I think Megan is a slightly better doubles player. And by the end of the year, when we were really gelling, we weren't really even going to too many dream breakers. So I think we improved in that spot and in the mixed spot as well. So. Yeah, I think this is going to be our year. And look, we did win the most matches last year. We won the mid-season title. We had I think a pretty good season to be proud of, and I think we made improvements since then. So, yeah, 5s. It's our year, and plus, it's 2025.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, a little sneak peek of the chance.
The year of the clown is upon us. Moving on to our number 3 spot, coming in there we have the St. Louis Shock, followed by the Columbus Sliders, and after that, that's where there's kind of a little bit of a drop off. So it seems to me these are kind of the top 4 tier of teams. I'm looking at these rankings, and Kaitlyn, you had the St. Louis Shock at number 3. They didn't make any moves to get better, but do we think this team will do better than they did last year, or have they already reached the ceiling?
I think their players, I mean, all 4 of them, I believe, are still on the rise. So I think, are they going to get better? It's, the answer is yes, but how much better did the other teams get in the offseason and with trades? I still think that they're a phenomenal team. I think they're going to do extremely well. The Sliders are really interesting. I think that one was the toughest for me to rank. I really like the Sliders. I think they did pretty well on their trades, and I like DC. I like DC's team chemistry. So I think for me, it's like, should the Sliders and DC be switched and be 4-5, or should I keep it 5-4? But yeah, that's what I would say there.
How many teams make the playoffs in Premier?
There are 10 teams in the playoffs, but the first round is just a best of 1 series. It's effectively a play-in into kind of the more standard format we've seen, where there will be, I guess, just a round of 8, where it'll be 2 of 3. So top 6 is an important distinction if you really want to finish top 6 to avoid that first round, and then after that, you really want to finish in the top 10. So speaking of that, the last 2 teams in our top 6, DC and Texas, followed by LA Mad Drops, the Orlando Squeeze, Carolina Hawks, and Chicago Slice, and all these teams have made pretty significant changes.
The one thing that we should definitely note is that the New York Hustlers are 16 and 16 across the damn board. Everyone believes, they basically traded all their players away for cash. And then what I thought was really interesting is SoCal Hard Eights, Miami, and Atlanta, 3 of the 4 challenger teams that moved up, we have ranked in the bottom 4 for this year. The only one that we had higher was the Chicago Slice, who obviously made a lot of trades. So that's maybe one that we could talk about. The Slice is, do we believe that they're going to be the best challenger team to move up to Premier this year?
Yeah, I think without a doubt. Like, you can't, like, the Atlanta, Miami, and SoCal are just not in the same realm, right? They didn't spend really anything in their draft, and honestly, the Slice cobbled together a pretty good team. Ignatowicz starts playing better. They have James, they have Callie, they have Viv, and they have Max Freeman. Like, that's a team that, like, could get uncomfortable in certain matches for players. I think the top 3 or 4 teams aren't really gonna. I guess top 6 teams. I could see the Mad Drops and Squeeze having and Hogs having slight problem with the Slice. I don't think the Slice are gonna come in really too close with those top 6 teams. Which, the thing that seems unfortunate about this season of MLP is you can pretty much call your top 6 right now. The only team I think that really has a shot at breaking in and sort of, upsetting one of those might be the Mad Drops. and then your 7 through 10 is pretty clear too. I think it's Orlando, Carolina, and Chicago. And then your 11 through 16 is pretty set as well, which is, not what you want to see.
Yeah, the hunt for playoff seeding will certainly be compelling, but the actual playoff hunt, much like last year, it didn't have as much juice as it could have if we'd had a little more who's getting in and who's out drama. That's what I'm hoping for, but I'm with you, Zane. I'm not sure that we're going to see it this year either.
I mean, the bottom line is it's the fact that some players are stuck in Challenger, number one. Number two, we had to bring up a lot of players below Challenger. People that haven't played MLP are now on rosters. And it's just going to bring the level down, dramatically in Premier. But this will hopefully be a building year. I think, once we get past this year and in a year or two, I would say, give it a good 2 years and all of these teams can be competitive amongst each other. And if we get the game to grow internationally, I think that's when it'll get really interesting. But there's new players coming up all the time. I think this is like a little slice in time. We're just going to have to deal with it.
Well, and I think that is probably a good stopping point for our discussion of Premier. But before we go, since I'm a guest on Zane's channel, we're going to have just a little bit of fun with charts. What we're looking at here is just the composite votes that we all put in, as well as your vote, the fans, on a single graph. So you can kind of see what type of archetypes that the teams fit in. We've got some shapes we can see. The Columbus Sliders have this trapezoidal shape. They're strong in men's doubles and have one strong mixed line. The Orlando Squeeze fit a similar pattern, as do the Carolina Hogs. You can see the New Jersey Fives with this thin diamond shape. We really like any team that Annalie Waters is on. This is just kind of a quick way to visualize it. And all the way down at this bottom row is when the chart starts to get just a little bit sad. The New York Hustlers, I don't even know what is going on there.
That's a dot, bro.
It's going to be a tough year for the New York Hustlers. At a certain point, MLP is pay to win, and they simply have not paid.
Yeah. We like shapes on this channel, to be honest. Like, I like our little New Jersey Fives rhombus, right? Like, hey, look at that one. That's a good one. Rhombus is it's a pretty good shape. I don't know. Tice, what's your favorite shape? Tice looks like he's got like a power ranking of shapes.
A circle. There's no sides.
Circle's a good. It's a strong shape. It's a strong shape.
It's infinity.
Tice, you cut out, but you're back there. We just heard you say circle.
I'm sorry. Also, a circle can also be known as a nonagon, if you want to get technical. Just FYI.
Oh, we did.
Well, that's it for my fun with charts segment. We'll see if Zane keeps this part in.
Well, guys, thanks for doing this. Thank you to everybody. We had 50 people who submitted their rankings, so we knew it took a little bit of time. We appreciate it, and I think it was a really, really nice addition. As we mentioned last time, we're just figuring this stuff out. You should have seen how much of a mess Matty Pickles was without all of this beautiful editing from my team. No, so stay tuned on our socials. We all are posting on Twitter about when we're putting out these polls. We would love for you guys to continue to be a part of this. I think it's going to be a really, really fun addition. And also, like, leave us some more tips on editing, on whatever, on the flow of this. We're going to try and keep it fresh with new topics every time as well. So if you have ideas for topics too, primarily right now we're going to be focused on MLP because it's MLP season, but anything else, throw it at us. We have very little ego in terms of this. We just want to bring you guys some interesting and compelling content. So load us up with feedback. And yeah, we appreciate you guys listening.
Thanks, guys. Load us up.
Load us up.